Alright, we should be live. Shut my phone down. Pretend that helps the internet. Let's type in currently live on the Twitter. Talking Charlie. On the YouTube, talking Charlie Kirk. Alright, so I thought I'd go live for no reason at all because I like going live. And just discussing a little bit of the recent events, as we all know. And on the 10th of September, Charlie Kirk was brutally assassinated. By whom? We do not know because they don't know who did it. Oh, isn't that funny how it always is? You can never find out who does what whenever it's beneficial for us to not know. Like at this point, like how much more can like this continue on? We had on the 9th we had that woman that 9th or 8th. I think it was the 9th actually. We had that massive event with the woman getting stabbed to death. And then we get other events going on, like the Charlie Kirk one. There was apparently another school shooting yesterday as well. At least someone said that on Twitter. Hey, Kahana. I should put the banner up if you want to come up. I'll drop the link. And it's just this continuous game that people are playing, and everyone gets hyped up, and they all go back into the game. When I play, there's a video game I play, right? StarCraft 2. And one of the things you learn pretty quickly is you want to be the one in control of the narrative. You want to be the one who sets the stage, who makes the other person respond to you. If you're always on the response, it's always harder. It's like I was watching A New Crusade and Majorian and a few friends of theirs. Crash Cannon popped on and this other Eli guy. And I know it's very, very sorrowful. But there's a silver lining to this that these people seem to not understand. They're all responding. They're not positively putting anything forward. They're beating their breasts, going, "Oh man, we have to stop this event." You know, they all believe Leo's the Pope. Like you're so clueless about the world, you think Leo is the actual Pope. The U.S. government is the actual U.S. government, and you're going to do something. Like what you might as well just have taken stupid pills and gone back to bed because there's absolutely nothing any of these people are ever going to do. They're a part of the system. They are the intended response the system is trying to generate. When you have a screaming kid who's in the market, why is he screaming? He's trying to generate a response to you. This is a form of communication. I know the whole thing with Charlie Kirk, why it's so tragic is because he seemed to be a happy family man with 2 kids, a wife, no young family, and he just gets brutally murdered. That's absolutely horrible. You wouldn't want that for anyone. But just listening to Majorian yesterday, it's like, what was the point, Majorian, of going live in the New Crusade? I'm so angry. I'm going to be angry. We'll never let this go. You guys are a bunch of children. I sat there and listened to their whole show. It was so boring. What are you going to do? Oh, well, we can't do violence. Okay, so we can't do that. We have to counter infiltrate the thing that got infiltrated 70 years ago after World War II, completely taken over, and then we're going to like somehow fight them by becoming Republicans and getting into Republican places of power, and then that's going to work. These people think the system is going to assassinate them next. It builds lurid narcissistic fantasy. Yeah. But it will assassinate people, and it's like, why do you care? Lots of Fed posting, not lots of answers. Why do you care so much that Charlie Kirk was dead? Because you see yourself as a person who could have been Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's job is not a difficult job at all. Put on a microphone, look good, put on a microphone, know how to take a shower, know how to get dressed, spew random right-wing talking points on obvious issues. Oh, people who take tons of drugs are bad. Wow, what a great talking point. Did you know that there's bodybuilders who take tons of drugs and they're also retarded? Yeah, because taking tons of drugs makes you retarded. That's not a hard argument to make. You didn't invent anything new by making this argument. And then we were going to go see a new crusade going, oh, we got to do this for Charlie. It's like, why? Why would you make Charlie into something bigger than what he is? What's the point? I'm surprised. I haven't checked. We should go. Where is the because I want to see if he's made an autistic take about how we're all Charlie now. I don't see anything. It's like, why are you all Charlie now? Don't you think for yourself? Why are you being a herd mentality? For for Majorian to go on about this, I have political thoughts and ambitions. And I talk about Nietzsche all the time. And then he literally goes on and does the most anti Nietzschean thing, the thing that Nietzsche criticizes tremendously. And it's this herd mentality of, oh, man, we all have to infiltrate the system. We have to like get ourselves involved and interact. No, the whole point of Nietzsche was to embrace radical individual freedom away from social structures of power that suppress you. The United States government is a social structure of power that suppresses you. The Nietzschean idea would be to be an ANCAP like myself and to not even believe they are a government. It's to completely change the mental way you understand it. That every single one of these governments is nothing more than a band of thieves, robbers, and murderers trying to ruin your life. And that's a level of contempt you should have for every single politician except Thomas Massey. Instead, we're like, oh no, we got to beat our breast. Charlie Kirk died. Oh, remember the conservatism. Like, what's the point? So you can get shot too. Oh, that could have been me. Anthony Abate is going on. Oh man, I just keep imagining myself getting shot. Well, yeah, everyone does. Congratulations, you're a normal human being. What's the response? Oh, I'm gonna pack arms privately. That's what they want you to do. Look, the whole point of the system is to never ever resolve anything. Oh, there's our friend, brother John Ark. So as long as like I made this a calculation in 2009 to my own self. The point of Barack Obama was to sell guns. That's why he was like, I'm going to come and take your guns. And then everyone bought guns. And now the number of guns went up. Yeah, that's how it works. It's a system response, or the system is the action response. So, oh, they shot Charlie Kirk. Now everyone has to buy more guns. It's good for the economy. Honestly, the best thing that the U.S. government could do to bolster the economy is kill people. Just kill people at random and do it graphically and publicly and violently. And what happens? Political participation goes up. The legitimacy of the government goes up. The legitimacy of evil. Why do you think Leo invited the alphabet group in? He invites the alphabet group in to increase the legitimacy of the alphabet group. That's the point. And by increasing their legitimacy, it increases his legitimacy in the eyes of the world because then everyone's like, Leo, why are you doing this? And look at they're talking about him. Positive, negative, it's all talking about him. You can't remove him, so it doesn't matter what you say. Right? He controls the narrative by doing bad things. What do you think's going on with this whole Charlie Kirk thing or all the whole cultural disintegration? They control the narrative by purposely performing evil actions and then you respond to those evil actions and what does that do? It furthers the narrative. This is the game is the only way to win the game is to not play it. Blyton is going to make this all about himself during the avoiding Babylon gun show. Yes, the Mises Institute came out and did an article on Trump's economy, which is essentially the same economy as old, and there is no such thing as bad press. Yeah, that's the essential point. The point is to say that any advertisement is good advertisement as long as you can't be removed. Like, it's bad advertisement for Trump if Trump could be removed from the presidency that something like this happened. Since it can't happen, it won't happen. Therefore, this is all great advertisement. Now he's going to be up there, oh, beating his breast. Oh, look at this Charlie Kirk event. Oh, it's so sad. Well, I mean, if you don't want to be heard. The whole point is that at some point you have to break the umbilical cord, and none of these people are willing to break the umbilical cord. The Sadies are just the only reasonable people. They figured out the whole point of the Vatican II religion was to keep you in a mental prison. And the way out of the mental prison is tradition. In order to truly embrace tradition, you have to break out of the mental prison. That was the whole point of Nietzsche and the herd mentality, the whole resentment, the ressentiment of Nietzsche. There's people who resent you. They resent your happiness. Trannies, transsexuals. I don't know what you call them. The transvestites. The evil communists, the evil immoral communists, resent the fact that you're happily married. They resent the fact that you have children. They resent the fact that you're happy and beautiful and young. They resent the fact, so they want to hurt you, and that's what they did to Charlie Kirk. It's not there to be like, yes, we're going to oppress you all. No. That happened once. That was the Russian Revolution. That's not going to happen again. The system is 100% in control and doesn't care. The French government yesterday put 70,000 police on the streets of Paris. The biggest war in medieval Europe, fought between the English and British, had 35,000 people. Okay, the scale of 70,000 cops. They put a army out that they have to defend their government. And there's riots now in every single major country in Europe. And guess what? It's all a part of the game. There's no real solution, because when you look for solutions from the hair of the dog, you're going to get the dog. You can't break the system this way. This is why Mises said to Friedman, you're all a bunch of socialists, because you're trying to fix the system by altering one or two things. So how do you actually fix the system? By radical individualism, by making by changing the conversation to be about how do I change government to it's not even a government. I don't know why this just feels like everything is about to really start rolling. I don't think it will. Do you remember when Trayvon Martin died, they made a whole big race war, and that lasted a whole decade, right? And we're still living with the effects of it. Did anything big and major happen? Only if you're in the very place that it happens. Only 1 to 10% of all this stuff matters to people. The vast majority of people know enough to get out of harm's way. And that's all you have to do. You have to avoid certain things like being in certain neighborhoods after 10 o'clock. When I used to live in Steubenville, they said if you were outside after 2 o'clock on Oregon Avenue, you could get shot, because they're the drug cartels. When they had a shipment in at 2 in the morning, they would be out there with their AK-47s, because they have to deliver $1 million worth of drugs. So it's like, yeah, we're not going to let that get jeopardized. If you're just walking by, you better turn around. So it's like, yeah. You can get killed being a Franciscan University student, just being out at the wrong street at the wrong point in time. Yeah. France is only continuing the French Revolution, adopted by the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks, though, were there to remove all the gold and wealth of Russia, which is why that revolution went so deep. According to my brother, you can stock up on everything and just do it practically. Don't make it like this big, like, yes, I'm gonna be the Alamo, and I'm gonna be there pumping weights and smoking cigars and eating steak and cleaning my guns, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna defeat the government. The government wants you to buy all of these items. They want you to spend money. The government lives on you spending money. That's how messed up the world is. It seems to matter for everyone, and I don't know why it matters to anyone. Because if you actually take a breath, step back, a young father with a small family was murdered in a country of 370 million people. Is it a coincidence that today's like Steven Heiner are the ones that are not impressed by the recent PSYOP? I do not think so. No, Steven Heiner is all about this stuff. He's probably one of the few Saturdays you want to listen to. It's like, but the real thing is that it's so graphic and it's so real, and like anyone could be Charlie Kirk. So then your mind automatically fills in like, oh my goodness, we're in a literal war. Why don't we form a militia there's no militia. There's nothing to form. Like half of the Catholics are entirely correct on the Twitter. Half of them are fantastic. Half of them like, hey, you know what? This is a wake up call to go to confession. Like, amen. Pray more. Get your life in order. Go tell your parents you love them. Like all of that. That's all good. That's what you should do anyway. But that's actually a better solution than for to be like majority and going, oh, guys, we got to organize and infiltrate them. Infiltrate what? Why are you infiltrating hell to defeat the devil? That's a great line. You remember the George Floyd riots? Everyone said silence is violence. Yeah, but you also have to think about it. Are Confederate statues really that important? Like, we as Catholics do not place everything of value in this world. Like, yeah, the Confederate statues are extremely important, just like the George Washington stuff is. But like on another level, yeah, it's not really that important. Everything can be removed and it doesn't really matter. So why are they removing it? It's because they're trying to get a victory on you. They're trying to push you down. They're trying to suppress you. They're trying to get a reaction. You can't fight Satan with a can of beans. Yeah, you got to know what to go to and what not to go to. Like, um, I thought this through quite a while ago when I used to go to LA and I used to take the public transit. I used to look at every single person on every single bus car I go on. So I would just be there, just like mindlessly watching people. It's like, why are you mindlessly watching people? Oh, I'm just trying to figure out who's going to kill me. Like, yeah, that. So every time you're on a public transit, sorry, there's a 1% chance that you just get killed. That's just how it is. Especially if you're a Kohana and you just unfortunately have a different, other than the mainstream genetic people, you just might be a target. 35 years ago, I watched a video about World War III. The one thing that struck out to me is everyone said that there would be no sides. It would be everyone against everyone. Everybody has a theory on World War III. It's the most insane thing. Yeah. And this is the biggest problem. Why is it that we have a pope publicly blaspheming God and they're like, oh, I can't break out of the Novus Ordo prison? What does it take? You have Trump publicly supporting genocide. He's trying to stop it, and then it doesn't get stopped, and then more people get murdered. It's like, yeah, as soon as it became clear in Trump from 2016 he wasn't going to just stop all the wars, I was out mentally. And then from then on, every time Trump comes on, I have to like take a dump on him because he's a bad person. Why? Because he did a bad thing. He did an unforgivable thing. He did a thing you can't defend. And if you can't defend, you can't defend the position. God made us a pope to always have someone who had our back. If he doesn't have your back, he's not the pope. That is just that simple. But we can't break out of the Nova Soda prison. Like Anthony and Rob are going to be beating their chest. Now, oh yeah, brother, we just gotta like stick together. And it's like, why? Why are you sticking together? What's that going to actually do other than make yourself feel good and feel important? Yeah, it's just back to the basics. Like, if you're not ready to die, then just get ready to die. And then just keep living your life every day ready to die. The Catholic is an anti-fragile system. The Catholic Church doesn't really care about this world. When it's times of plenty, she says, give money away to charity. When it's times of scarcity, she says, give money away to charity. It's like when you have something to do, you just do it. That's the way the Catholic religion is. That's why we have to take the good parts of the Catholic religion, this anti-fragile system, and apply it to the political system. Well, then you don't think the government has any legitimacy whatsoever, and you only follow it whenever it's the best option out of many. You don't make the government a more powerful system by pouring more money into it, by getting more campaigns into it. This is why I believe anarcho-capitalism is the only response, because it breaks the mental box that people live in, and that's the biggest issue. It's not that like we need to be right wing or left wing or whatever those mean. It's that people live in a mental box, and the mental box says, Daddy, take care of me. And as long as you live in that mental box that says, Daddy, take care of me, you'll never truly be an adult. And that's what I see in so many people. It's like these people, they have this lust for power of being important. It's like, yeah, be important to yourself. I'm not infiltrating anything. I have to dye my hair and start listening to Hassan Piker. Like the fact that Hassan Piker exists is by the way, if people do want to come up, you can drop them. I know to be nice to Majorian, but like there's also another side to the conversation. And that if you don't actually have the conversation, because Majorian's a pretty cool dude, then you're not going to get all that you need to get out. Like what's a Nietzschean saying we need to infiltrate a government for? Nietzsche wants to burn the whole society down to have the triumph of the individual and the triumph of will. When we're supposed to be looking for the triumph of God's will. I need to get my drink. But the libertarian, the pro natural law position, which by the way would actually have to kick out all of the communists anyway, because they're a very obvious public violent threat against humanity. That's self-defense to kick out the trannies. But it's self-defense from a libertarian's perspective to kick out the trannies. When our friends, the Groypers and the Gen Zers and the neo-fascists want to come up, the neo-Frankists want to come up, Francoists, and kick out the trannies. They want to do it because they want to assert their culture as the dominant thing. It's like willed by God. And it's the same action, but very different intentions. We think that libertarianism, especially Brother John here, libertarianism is about putting the right order. We have to protect the common good. We are all required to contribute to the common good so far as Rome of Arm teaches. So then how do we protect the common good? Well, we protect the common good by getting rid of the government. Like that's the actual solution. And all these people are like, no. What we have to do is we have to get into the government and change it to us so then we can assert the common good with violence, as if that will ever help anyone. Like, tell any teenager, hey, you have to do this or I'm going to commit violence against you. Guess what? They're going to roll their eyes and they're going to remember this. And 10 years down the road, they're going to take it out on you. Yeah, he's not dumb, though. And I end up usually being nice to everyone because I'm kind of a simpy person. To me, the libertarians always try to make it a mental box to see how depraved they can get. Is this nasty thing not allowed? Oh, no, you're not a real libertarian. Yeah, there are a lot of libertarians that are absolutely freaks and nasty people. But the libertarians that are freaks and nasty people are outside the mental box of I need daddy government to help me. A lot of these libertarians are like, wait, I can take as many drugs as I want because I'm a free individual person who is willing to damn himself to hell because he wants to have a really good time. I'm going to drink 17 monsters in a row and die. It's like, yeah, you're a retard. Go ahead, be a retarded libertarian. Don't spread it around. But what actually happens in the conversation though is then the tranny comes along and is like, well, I need protection because I'd like to also do whatever I want to do to myself, but I want to do it in the public space. You can't have immorality in the public space. That's where we need Catholicism. But then we have, but we accept Francis. Francis puts public, or Leo. We accept Leo, we accept Francis, we accept Ratzinger, we accept JP2. They all put evil into the public space. I know. This is always true. The Mongolian cities always have this weird neo-fascist authoritarianism, which I never understand authoritarianism. Because do you like authority over you? It's like, no, you don't. I'm an individualist because I act from an individual standpoint. I take a look at my life and I say, what do I want to do today? And then I do it. Like I need to go dig out a gopher hole because another one popped up. I'm not digging out that gopher hole because some authority told me to, and I have to suppress the gophers. And it's this great traumatic event of asserting the rights of men over the rights of gophers. It's like, no, I did it because I'm an individual. And so you have these trannies who run around asserting the right of government over individuals. And then you have the right wing retard nut cases, all these Gen Zers on Twitter going, I'm going to assert my rights of government over your rights of government. It's like, well, yeah, you made the government stronger. You made the government more important. I thought the government was the enemy. Oh, it's only the enemy if the bad person has it. Well, hi, friends. No, Mongolia does not have cities. Yeah, but you can define morality from natural law and property rights. Look, a lot of people don't have any property rights anymore. They just live off the public property, like in LA, where they just have these gigantic tent camps of people doing drugs. Or in Philadelphia, it's like, or in San Francisco too. It's like you can't that thing can't exist. That's a clear and apparent danger to the society. And so you're allowing public dangers to your society, causing white flight, and then causing institutional instability. And then their response is, well, why don't we forcibly move the whites back into the cities and get institutional, stability back? It's like, it's the cat's out of the bag. You've already lost it. A better idea is to shut down all public transportation. How about that? No one wants to talk about that. How about we shut down all public schools? How about we shut down the entire US government? How about we stop printing money? It's like all of these would not stop the world from working. But we can't talk to because we have to try to get into the institutions to try to take them for God and print money for Catholics. Like all the Father Fahey fans and all these late 1800s, Father Pesch, E. Michael Jones, Father Fahey, Stephen Heiner, Michael Parrott. All these guys who just, as long as it's a Catholic producing the money, as long as it's a Catholic in charge of the fascism, man. I'll drop the link if anybody wants to join. But I feel like ranting. As long as it's a Catholic with that police boot just choking the life out of us, it's fantastic. No. The point is, you're a bunch of sheep, and God's your shepherd, and if he allows the world to kill you, he allows the world to kill you, and the rest of the time you just got to be smart about things. Gahan is right. We have no property rights, and that's a bigger issue than whether our institutions are evil. Look, if you want to kill the institutions, you have to actually go get rid of all the Ivy League schools. That's what you have to actually do. No one wants to do that. No one even thinks about that. Ooh, who said that one? So the biggest enemy of the American government is the legal professors at Harvard or something. It's like, yeah. As long as I'm paying property tax that result in my property being taken, I own nothing. Exactly. You have to get rid of all the professors in the quote cathedral unquote that inform the world to continue on down the path it's going. That's what you have to actually do. You have to get rid of all the judges who listen to all of the people in the cathedral, because leftism, or what we should actually call communism, I consider myself a leftist. Communism, which is a radical anti-Catholic movement, is a brain disease that people have. And if you have the brain disease, you do not have human rights, because to have the brain disease makes you a parasite on humanity. So that's what we have to actually discuss. We have to actually discuss shutting down every single college, not Charlie Kirk going on to colleges and converting them. Excuse me. And until this is being discussed, it's like, what are we doing? Oh, I know. I'm going to get into a state legislature and slow evil down until you become evil. It's one thing. Like, look, if you're from a big family like I am, and everybody says, what do you want to go to dinner? And they'll say, oh, we want to go this place, that place, and this place, right? If there's options, it doesn't matter. But if you don't want to go out and you're the only person who doesn't want to go out, guess what? You still go out because you're a part of the group. So until you're, a good 30, 40% voting block with principles, a constitution, a inbuilt system of checks and balances on your own political party to move forward, you're just pissing in the wind. And that's all they're doing. That's all the Majorian said last night. That's all New Crusade was saying. I'm a young 25-year-old YouTubers. I'm going to change the world. No, you guys are going to do very little because when you actually get into power and you're making $60,000 a year, and the Jewish people say, "Hey, I'll double how much you make if you sign off on this one bill." You're going to sign off on the one bill because you're not making enough money. That's the actual thing that happens in Congress. Why do you think they all get bought off? Congress people make nothing. Senators, well, it was the senators. It's like, what's the average? I forget this because I remember it changed recently. The yearly uh, income of senators of U.S. government senators. Okay. According to Google, this is the number of money they make a year. Okay. How much does a baseball player make a year? A good baseball player, 5, 6 million. So in other words, a good baseball player is making 20, 30 times as much as your senator. I thought it was actually a little bit bigger, but that's what Google is saying. I guess that's the leadership salary, what I posted. It's also $174,000 a year, right? Yeah, let's type it in. Average income of a U.S. Dodgers baseball player. Well, the payroll for the team, the whole team, is $321 million. Okay. So the baseball team's average salary is bigger than that of the United States government. One baseball team, biggest baseball team. You don't think that the government, those senators are bleeding out for money? They really need money, or else they have to live a very frugal life. They're the most powerful people on the planet. Yeah, a few $100,000 would go a long way if I made $200,000 a year. No, no, you're going to Majorian becomes the senator from wherever he is, and he goes and he cashes in that $200,000 check. It's a joke. The family business here makes more than that. Right? Just doing a job you could do in high school makes more money than the United States senator. And then you're not going to sell out. You have to sell out. You have to look at this. My head architect and engineer gets paid 210K a year. You make nothing. That's the way the system works. The system is made to grind you up and to kill you. Yeah. See. Well, look at this. It's like, how much is Nancy Pelosi worth? Let's see. Nancy Pelosi. Love my first net worth. Excuse me. This is how much Nancy Pelosi is worth. Now explain how many years she would have to work making this much a year. She'd have to work what, 1,000 years and never spend any money. So now Nancy Pelosi has 1,000 years worth of money, and there's Majorian in the Senate trying to campaign with something, and Nancy Pelosi's like, "Hey, buddy, $1 million to put your name on this signature." Okay, fine, I'll do it. Like, probably won't get passed anyway. Yeah, you're spitting in the wind, and it's hitting you in your face. You're like, "I'm going to change America, guys. It's going to work." It's like, no. It's not how the system works. The system is designed to eat you up and spit you out. My grandfather in North Dakota ran for the United States Senate. Pete Naden. Didn't get very far. On account of all of a sudden, everybody and his brother had two bad things to say about him. It's like, oh man. So more power to you if you can actually run. But let's not like have this fantasy story where we're going to magically get things done. We're going to magically change this country. No, you gotta, if you wanted to change this country, what you'd have to do is also lock up every single black person from the age of 17 to 27. That's what Dave Smith has said this in the past too. I'm not making an original point here because they commit the most crimes. You'd have to Shuffle off 10 million illegals. People don't want to shuffle off 10 million illegals. Well, good luck fixing it. There's another way you could fix the country, make it go bankrupt. I don't know how you do that, but you could. Like, so instead of focusing on the country and instead of focusing on these grandiose ideas, just be an individualist. Just build a mental system, a interior castle that's anti-fragile, that can't be broken. And you need the Catholic faith. You can't do it without the Catholic faith. And she's also gets insider information. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dave Smith because Dave Smith is more clairvoyant on this stuff than people who are in the system. You have to break the system. It's kind of like with Novus Ordo. You have to break the Novus Ordo system in your brain in order to understand what's going on. So we have people who don't break the Novus Ordo system, like Avoiding Babylon. Guess what? They just run in circles. Oh man, we need to get more guns. Oh, no one shot at me. My whole life, no one shot at me. But I had a lot of guns, just in case. How do you know? You don't know in any direction it's going to go. You just like you played the lotto and won, or you played the lotto and didn't win. You don't know. So what are you preparing for? Things you don't know. Well, what's the point in that? The Jews will finance whom they please. Voting does not matter and changes nothing unless they change something for the worse. I think Phil has a better point. In Britain right now, they're putting up flags of the old British flags everywhere. And you do have a much better chance of changing Britain than America because Britain's a small country. Like, there's actually a limited number of people there, and you have a limited number of votes. In America, it's like, 40% of the people don't vote. And then they're like, we got to get them out to vote. Well, it's like, why? So we can get involved in this personal, emotional drama and get ups and downs and see people who we didn't care about before, but now we really do care about them and be completely broken up inside and go through this huge emotional turmoil for what? Rob wishes he can run circles. I never know what the word balkanized means. What you should do is you should become ungovernable. Yeah, I mean, if the country divided into if all the states left the union, that would be actually be the solution. Like instead of the right wing people getting angry every time California threatens to leave the union or Texas threatens to leave the union, they should really be going, yes, please leave the union. If Nevada left the union, I'd probably move to Nevada. Why? Well, because then it's a democracy of 3 million people instead of a democracy of 360 million people. Like that's a great selling point. Maybe there's more people in Nevada there, but like, yeah. I was talking to parishioners here at my parish in Texas. Even Texas left the union to be a further. If this all succeeded again, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter, but it changes the narrative. It breaks the mental structure. And that's half of everything. Half of everything is breaking the mental structure. It actually shouldn't necessarily be lock up all blacks. It should be lock up all blacks without parents, but But like this is the conversation you actually have to have, and you now play it out in your head. Hey, I'm going to pass a bill that locks up all people between the ages of 17 and 27, where the most amount of crime is committed and the brain pathways are permanently damaged. That's never passing. Literally, that will never ever pass. So it's like, okay, we're gonna get you. Oh, we're gonna get you. Wait, are you Grover? No, but if you're going to actually say that you have a solution from a top-down government way, that's what you have to talk about. And then instead they're like, no, I'm going to talk about the good parts where we promote traditional family. And then like everyone gets married, bro. And then like everyone has like 5 kids, bro. And then everyone's like, oh my goodness, I had 5 kids. And I became a conservative like Dave Smith. Dave Smith's like, oh, I was like just some jerk. And then I got married and had a kid. And I was like, oh my goodness, morality matters. I have a kid and she's cute. Oh, it's like, not everyone feels that way. One of my brother-in-laws, he has like two kids, and he's like, I have kids. You're like, is there a human being there? What's going on here? I guess I only part libertarian because I don't want to see any human beings living in a cage unless they risk cause risk of further harm. Yeah, but there's no reason to have the cages if the people can't get into your country illegally. See, if the government is allowing, there's something that I really like about the libertarian theory, and it works with jurisdiction in the Catholic Church. The rights of the government come from subsuming the rights of the people. So the people are born with inalienable rights. The government takes those rights to themselves and is supposed to act in accord with how those people would use their rights. Excuse me. So a person, when they're in the womb, they grow. They have only one desire in their life, and they manifest that by their act of continual growth. Therefore, it's always wrong for someone to be killed in the womb, to be aborted, because that's contrary to the manifest intentions and actions of the being in the womb, which is to live. So the government, therefore, when the government enters into this space, has to do what is in accord with what is the character in question. The character in question being the baby. The government has no moral right to act in any other manner other than being pro-life. So if a government acts against pro-life, that government is ceased to be a government and is just an occupying evil enemy force. And I've already made the same comment with the Catholic Church, but in the same sense of sedevacantism, because you're baptized, you have a right to the sacraments. The rights to the sacraments come from the fact that you're baptized. It doesn't come from the fact that there's a pope. But when there's a pope, he has the right to act on your right to receive the sacraments because he takes up into himself all of your rights as long as he acts in accord with those rights. So we have a government that does the opposite and a pope that does the opposite. And the response to this by a lot of my friends in the right wing is to say, well, why don't we just make it do what we want it to do? Then you're an amoralist. You're no longer being like right and wrong, natural law, divine law. You're just, no, I think we should look like this. So I'm just going to force everyone to look like this. And that's how it actually comes off to the people who aren't feeling your vibe. Phil Gonzalez says, I was a jerk before and after getting married, having kids. Same with my brother, the brother just older than me. He's like literally changed nothing. So it's like, yeah. In a fantasy land, we can just impose Catholic morality and we can just impose this Taylor Marshall. Everyone wants to live on a farm. But in actual reality, you can't. Human beings just don't want to do what they're told to do. That's about all the thoughts I had on the topic. It just no. Phil's a huge jerk. That's why we like him. That's why it's always happy to have Phil. Because it's just the whole mental thing. They live in the mental prison. Like if there's anything you were supposed to get out of Kanye was to get out of the mental box, but he lives in that box and won't get out himself. Instead, it's like we just repeat again and again and again. We have to go vote harder. Oh, this next election is the most important election. Do it for Charlie. Guys, we can't possibly live without Charlie. It's like we did this every single time. And guess what? Every single time is always the most important election. Every single time, nothing changes. Every single time, the world gets worse. Why don't we actually think outside the box, just like with the Vatican II popes? Or if Pope Paul VI isn't the Pope, what will we do? If Pope JP1, no, JP2, no. It's like, it just keeps going on. It's like, aren't you guys tired of the nonsense? At some point, you got to wake up and realize you've been had. Wait, you mean Kohana is like more amazing than the rest of us? How are you all rich lady, a rich islander lady who runs a business and like you're just like greater than every person? It just isn't fair. Oh, shame! Shame! I don't care if you voted. It's just a waste of your time. But like people vote because they want to try to do things. It just doesn't work because the system doesn't work that way. We'll never vote ourselves out of the mess room. Well, we won't because the senators have no reason to do it. The incentive structure is messed up. Look, I've said this 1,000 times. So you can just think about this yourself, right? If you could eat delicious food all the day long and have no negative side effects, you wouldn't get bloated, you wouldn't gain weight, you wouldn't feel bad, you wouldn't have like, irritable bowels. What would you do? You'd eat a lot of food. If of course in this scenario food is cheap. Yeah, of course you would. So why do you think these senators who they vote like, "Oh, I'm a Republican, so I must vote for this. Oh, I am a Democrat, so I must vote for this." They're not even human beings at that point. They're little sheep in a little herd going, "Oh, we do what the boss tells us to do." It's like, I thought these are the best people America has to offer. It's like, no, these are the biggest sellouts ever. Pat Buchanan said in I think the 90s that illegals were coming across the country and murdering people. The 90s. That was one of the big things he was going on about. We're 36 years later, and they're still doing it. You can't figure this out. Milton Friedman in the Free to Choose series, which is a fantastic economics lesson series. You can watch it on YouTube. He pointed out that talking to Border Patrol that like we don't have the ability to stop all these people. It's going to be, a few thousand a day, a few hundred a day coming across no matter what. Like we just don't have the ability to stop it. 50 years later, are they still stopping it? No. So it's like, oh, smell the coffee. Figure out what works for you and do it. But don't do this like, I'm going to save the country by getting elected to my local cabinet board. And then the person I'm running against is a pink haired person without a life. They have 4 cats, no relationships. They have nothing to do with their time. And someone's funneling them money. Yeah, you're going to win. Yeah, right. Because the angry person with the pink hair has nothing to do with their life. They just want to be in control. They just want to be powered. This is it. This is their big moment to shine. They have no talent. Some a spooky anonymous donator donates them a big lump sum of money and you're screwed. Well, I'm going to win because I'm more charismatic than them. I podcast and have 500 followers. It's like, no, if they don't want you to win, it's like, oh, you're just not going to win. Yeah, and I hate to say it, the that one atheist comedian, it's a big party and you're not in it. You're not invited. Because I hate that guy's comedy because I think his comedy is literally a man complaining as if he was a woman. But there's a point too. It's a big party and you're just not invited. Just like this podcast. You could be invited if you wanted to, but like, what's the point? Like, is there an actual point? I have no idea how a city could believe in a government when the church removed Christ from its altar. It wasn't a sign that it's all over. We at one point we had, I think, let's see, Tiptoes had 5 kittens and Mittens had 4, I think. One point we had 9 cats at home. That was one of my favorite years. Those cats didn't like me very much, so I think I held them too tightly. You could marry Bill Clinton, yeah, George Carlin. It's a big sale at Trask, and you're not invited. I know Norm is so much better. Yeah, well, that's about enough ranting from me. It's just if you don't break yourself out of the mental prison, it's like, yeah. What's going to happen? Hey guys, let's turn the wheels. The world's going to end the next election if we don't elect me. World doesn't end. Hey guys, the next election, the world's going to end. Oh, it doesn't end. Marin Katusa, the one of the big hedge fund guys, he thinks in the 2050s will be the second wind for the great American empire. 2050s. He doesn't think this thing is coming down till the end of the century. Some billionaire. And I remember reading that book 10 years ago, and he was just laying it out how the infrastructure in America is superior, how the demographics are superior, how the Americans are importing people in, young, productive people from other countries, which is going to screw up their countries. America prints more money and has more economic growth than the other countries. Therefore, when America prints money, it's going to make more inflation in their countries than in our country, even though it's pretty bad here. And then somewhere in about the next 10 to 20 years, they're just going to reset the currency and reprice it in gold, and it's going to automatically bankrupt half of the world. All the while, this is just all going to keep going on. And every single 4 years, it's the end of the world. Like, who knows what actually happens? No one does. But that's just one scenario out of maybe a dozen that could be true. And maybe all this hysteria is going to cause the great American revival of the 2050s. When all of a sudden, all the white people in our age today had an extra kid. And then, oh my goodness, there's an extra 10 million white people in America. Excuse me. And then now it's fantastic. The white people are repopulating the whole world, and all the black people, because they didn't have kids for the 2020s and 2030s. Now they're on the decline, and American imperialism is stronger, and China's crumbled because China, instead of actually building a real economic foundation, just built a bunch of houses and then put that on their balance sheets and borrowed against themselves. It's like, who knows what's going on? And if your guess is as good as mine and you can't actually map this out, and the billionaires have a different idea than the millionaires and the you and me's, like, no one knows. Everyone who says they know are liars. Everyone who says, oh, this election is the most important election, they're all lying. Everyone says we have to save the country, they're all lying because they don't know. Their parents said we have to save the country. I'm going to say I have to save the country. Therefore, the country will be saved. How do you know? You don't know. You're making it up. And I think that was enough streaming for now. We got to stream later tonight. So end the stream, end the stream, end the stream.